game. Right now, he's having to be that because there is nobody else on this team that can knock down a jump shot consistently. So he feels like he has to force up these shots. I mean, tonight, he was 4-15 from the field. All 4 shots were from three-point range. And one of the things that was pointed out, Adrian Atkinson on Twitter, who does some great stuff for Inside Carolina, pointed out that he's shooting below 40% at the rim. That's the area of his game that he really needs to improve at. But there are a lot of people that are critical of Cole. Let's be real honest. Right now, he's the only guy on the offensive end that is producing anything consistent. So there's no reason that we should be overly critical of him.
Yeah, no, he's got to be a little bit stronger when he attacks the rim. I think he's too worried about looking for contact and wanting to get the foul. Hey, that's fine. I don't care if you want contact and get fouled. Make the shot, then you go to the and one.
Yeah, go up strong and finish and get a chance.
And he did it a couple times tonight where he just, instead of making the play, well, I'm going to try to draw the foul. No, make the play and the foul. You're good enough.
Half the time, they're not going to call the foul. You've learned that. So go up strong and finish at the rim. Because at least if they don't call the foul, you're at least putting points on the board. And you can at least go back down. Yeah, maybe you're angry at the referee, but you could tell the referee, hey, man, I'm scoring without your help. So, I agree. I agree. That's the biggest area. I mean, how much of this do we credit to Ohio State defensively? I mean, I think they're a very good defensive team, but I think more of it is the shot selection from Carolina. Just not good at all. And it wasn't because Ohio State was forcing them into bad shots. They were just overall taking looks they shouldn't have.
I think what Ohio State did a very good job of tonight, and this is so reminiscent of what Carolina was struggling with back when Paige was a freshman. Carolina starting its offense 35 feet away from the basket with 10 seconds to go on the clock. So what that means is Ohio State has moved you all out of position. Your guys on the block can't get position in the post. And now you're pushed out way far away from the basket with 10 seconds to go. So they forced Carolina into some bad shots. And look, we knew coming in defensively this team was a juggernaut. Now, they hadn't done it against the greatest of competition. I think they showed tonight, okay, when they want to dig in and they want to compete and they want to play with intensity, that's a really good defensive ball team. In a loaded Big Ten that features Maryland, Michigan State's going to get fixed. You've got Michigan. Indiana's coming out of nowhere looking like a team that's going to make some noise. Ohio State has some pieces to not compete in the Big Ten, win that conference. So you've got to credit them because you can't lose by 25 and blame it all on yourself.
Right.
But also a lot of it was self-inflicted by Carolina not looking to push in transition. And some of that is Cole Anthony. That's not the kind of point guard he is. But he's also Garrison Brooks isn't running the floor. Or Baycott before he left with the injury isn't running the floor. Whereas last year the players adjusted to Kobe White just taking the ball and going. And maybe that's something Cole's got to do is just take it and go and make them run.
Yeah.
Because
that's your best chance at finding scoring. Your half-court offense isn't doing it.
They've got to get transition points. Because I don't even know if this team is going to... I don't know if the half-court's going to be fixed when they're fully healthy. I mean, we thought in the preseason, they may struggle, but the health is going to hinder them. We also thought Leaky Black was going to be a really big part of this team's success. And...
Oh, he is, but it's not in the way it's not in a positive way.
You know, he wasn't on the floor for the majority of the biggest win of the year against Oregon last week in the Bahamas. So I think we expected so much out of these grad transfers that we took for granted that how good Cam Johnson was, because these guys they don't have ACC talent. They don't. And you're playing an ACC-like gauntlet of a schedule right now in the non-conference league. It's grow-up time for those guys. And it's grow-up time for this whole roster. I thought Roy Williams didn't say, he's not going to say in his postgame, "Whoa, I was trying to send a message." That was because he didn't have to. If they couldn't look up at the scoreboard and receive the message themselves while seeing the Blue Steel squad on the floor in the second half in a top 7 matchup, then we've got bigger problems as a basketball team.
Nice reference to the press conference, by the way. I think what he was trying to get at with that quote is if they couldn't look up at the scoreboard and see that score and realize that they needed to step it up, then there was an issue. Let's be honest. That was the best we've seen. That was the best effort we saw all night, was when that blue squad was in there. 2 really telling statistics for me as well on what was not a great night for the Tar Heels defensively. Out-rebounded 48-32, plus 16 advantage for Ohio State, and that came with the defensive rebounding. Ohio State 35 defensive rebounds, Carolina just 19. Not the way Carolina basketball usually is. Could have been a little expected with the issues that we had with injuries, Armando Bacot leaving the game, and then with foul trouble, Garrison Brooks with 2 early fouls, and then Brandon Huffman with 3 early fouls in the first half. The other thing, I said this during the game, communication when it comes to, especially switching on screens, about as bad as we've seen it in recent years tonight. Now, that hasn't been, it's been a problem at times throughout the season, but tonight I think was the worst we've seen it. I'm not as concerned on the defensive end of the floor, but still some things that I think are definitely concerning.
Yeah, no. You're spot on. The talking or the lack of talking is evident. Because it's not the freshmen screwing up. It's Brandon Robinson and Garrison Brooks getting caught in a simple ball screen. And it turns into a dunk or a wide open 3 because they're just not taking the time to say, "Hey, I got this guy, you take that guy." Roy Williams can't do it for you. He shouldn't have to. You've been in the program 3+ years. You know what is expected of you on that end of the floor. Because when they do switch and they do talk, this team defensively is the only reason why it's why they won 2 and 3 in Atlantis. Because they've been able to protect the rim. They're closing out on shots. They're rebounding, not necessarily tonight, but for the majority of the season has been better because they're in position to make plays. And it's just, I don't know what the answer is on the defensive end. He's not going to play, Roy Williams isn't going to play zone. We know that.
Right. And
I'm not going to ask him to because you've got to be tough enough to play man-to-man in the ACC. It is not a want. It's a necessity. It's required.
I mean, look, I think zone can help them, but the other thing is at this point, just from watching some of the plays tonight, are they going to have enough discipline to play the zone the way it's supposed to be played? Because you had guys out of position tonight for just frankly no reason. One where Cole Anthony just left his guy to try to double in the low post for absolutely no reason because Armando Bacot was there to help double if needed. Very, very strange to me. But again, I'm not as concerned with the defensive end because so far this season, this team has been pretty solid defensively. That hasn't been the issue. And I know people are going to say, well, it's still December, and this is one of those early December games that Carolina has had. Here's the thing. Against Michigan, this team at least showed fight to try to get themselves back in the game. Tonight, it just felt like there was no fight.
They quit.
A while. Yeah, they gave up.
And it kills me to actually have to say that they quit, because that's not this program. And it's happened before. We've seen 2012 at Florida State, team quit. They lost by 30-something points. You saw in 2017 at Indiana, team quit. But those teams were mature enough and good enough to respond from that. I don't think this team is. And it's not like they get much of a chance to... like I said, snowball effect is in play here. Because you're going to a place Sunday that is become a living hell for you.
Uh-huh.
You haven't won there in the last 4 or 5 times you've gone there. And then you get a week off, and you get Wofford at home. Okay, yeah, you'll win that because, you've probably got more talent. Then you go to Gonzaga. Then you go to UCLA. UCLA's better. Mick Cronin's done a pretty good job out there year one. Gonzaga's Gonzaga. Perennial power Final Four team when healthy. Mark Few's a pretty dang good coach.
The only good thing is they are dealing with some health injuries, so they're pretty thin, but,
And so...
Still...
We're sitting here in November, and the season feels like it's on ice. You're seeing your Hall of Fame head coach. He's utterly disgusted with his guys, but he's disgusted with himself because he doesn't even know. And
I don't think anybody really knows at this point what you can do. This team. It's just, it's one of those ones that no matter how hard you think about it, there's just not that one solution that you can really think of that's guaranteed to work. Whereas in the past, maybe you were missing a guy that when you brought him back, you knew the team was going to be able to respond and would be a different basketball team. Maybe there was, a missing element to the team, like free throw shooting or three-point shooting. This year, it seems to be everything, especially on the offensive end, that just is not there. And that cannot continue if this team wants to win games in the toughest conference in college basketball. It's got to get fixed. I believe that even though Roy Williams says he has no answers, he'll work to find answers. But right now, it's a frustrating time to be a Tar Heel fan.
Is there anything else you want to...
Shut this thing down.
You want to...
Shut it down.
Before we get out of here.
Shut it down.
Guys, I would like to say we want to apologize for this. I'm not going to apologize for anything I've said. I'm not going to let Anthony apologize for what he said. It's part of this field, this industry. It's part of our job to
look, we're just telling the truth
to get
how we see it. We're giving our opinions. That's
to communicate how we feel about where Carolina stands right now. And for those of you that follow us on Twitter, we're as patient and understanding when Carolina loses games in November and December. I think the fact that we're on here and we're freaking out shows you just how worried and concerned we are, because deep down all we want to do is win. And we enter this season with a lot of optimism. Season isn't over, but if Carolina does not start getting better in not just one or two areas, but a lot of areas of this beautiful game, there's a chance it could be a lost season with a guy like Cole Anthony on your roster. Brandon Robinson's a senior, and that's what you don't want to see happen. Good news is they've got a Hall of Fame head coach who's guided this program to 3 national championships that is smart enough and cares enough to figure it out. Because he didn't like seeing fans leave the arena with 6 minutes to go in the game. That's going to drive him to fix this more than anything. So with that, we're going to get out of here. Want to encourage you guys